Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to Analog After Dark. This is episode number 2, and I am here with Leland, and this has been a pretty action-packed week. A lot of stuff to get to, but I wanted to first kind of start off by mentioning a little bit about how I know Leland. He's been coming into the store since my very first iteration of the store, and we kind of became friends through that. We've gone to football games, concerts. Have we gone to concerts?
I think we went to Metallica.
Oh yeah, we went to Metallica.
Sort of, and then...
We were there.
Yeah.
A lot of people were there.
I was on the floor, you were up with the peasants.
Only day 2, or day 1.
Yeah.
And then I realized how terrible it sounded, and I hurried up and got 4 seats, and they were much better, our standing room.
Yeah.
But we were there, me, you, and 65,000 people. We all went to Metallica together.
Well, yeah, and you brought...
Separate cars.
Yeah. The kid went, and you're going back to see Metallica.
Yeah, at the Sphere. But I've known Leland for a lot of years. He's seen the very beginning of the In-Groove and kind of been coming to all the different iterations. He's there every record store day, comes in all the time, buys a lot of stuff. But we've always just gabbed in the store. And I had the idea about a year ago, you know what, we should do this on camera. I think it'll be fun. And this podcast is essentially that. It took a while to get going, but it's going.
Yeah.
But we kind of have some segments here, starting with music news. And the big news this week, because there's not a lot of news, like industry news, like announcements, that type of stuff. Yeah. But the big news has been Michael Fremer again, which he's actually had quite a big segment in episode 1. And I don't want this to turn into the Michael Fremer podcast, but
he showed up in my algorithm a lot this week for whatever reason. I go on YouTube and it only wanted to show me
Fremer videos.
Videos that Fremer had commented on.
Because he's fighting a lot with people.
Yeah.
He's fighting a lot, and he loves throwing bombs, and people love throwing bombs at him, in his defense, but he loves throwing bombs. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the lacquers. He's on the lacquer kick again. And...
Which is a rehash from how many years ago?
This is a rehash from 2021, maybe 2020. This is a very old rehash. To give you guys a little bit of back history on this, I made a video years ago saying, like, look, don't be buying lacquers. This is not a good use of your money. They're not durable. This isn't something you should own. It's not the way to, put your money into good quality, high quality audiophile reissues. Let's not waste money on lacquers. He essentially came out and was like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Typical Fremer, name calling, the whole 9 yards. He made some videos, published some articles. Long story short, it ended up being a simulcast on me, his, and Analog Productions YouTube channel, to where the 3 of us got together. And the 3 of us talked. Not much came of it because, you mentioned stuff to Fremer, and he's like a great politician. He sits there and he nods and he looks like he's paying attention to you, and then he immediately pivots to something else. But in that, I mentioned one of his quotes, and he never really addressed it. But I thought this quote was very relevant to what's going on now, because he's really on his high horse defending Supersense, who makes lacquers. Essentially what they do is they get a copy of the master tape, or in the case of John Coltrane's Love Supreme, which I think is what I made the original video on. They're getting a copy of the master tape. I think it's a copy of a copy, or
I think it's the UK.
Or it's either that, or it's the original defective tape, because the original master tape of Love Supreme is not in that great a shape. So I think they've been using a UK copy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Long story short, he's gotten a couple of generations off copies, and he's cutting lacquers from them. And in my original video, I talk about a lot of people in the comments they've made about how lacquers are not really durable. I cited multiple mastering engineers. I cited Peter from Soundsmith. But the thing I cited, which was the best, was I cited Fremer. He did a podcast with Ken McAuliffe in 2020, March 14th. You can go on YouTube and find it. It's still posted. This is an exact quote from him. And it's kind of funny because if you put this quote against what he's saying now, because now it's the greatest company ever and lacquers are durable. And since this lacquer controversy started, He's taking lacquers around on tour. Everybody listen to these lacquers. Look how great they are. I know what I'm talking about. Everybody else is stupid. You know, that kind of thing. But his exact quote, I got a lacquer of Art Blakey a night in Tunisia. I got a 45 RPM lacquer that they were nice enough to cut for me. And as soon as I got it, I digitized it so I'd have it saved. I'd go to shows and I'd play that stick. And people would go crazy. And they would get up and applaud. Then I said, you know what? Why am I saving it? What am I saving it for? Who am I saving it for? Let me take it around to the shows. Let me play it for people. It's going to wear out eventually. It's going to go back into ooze. Lacquer is soft. It kind of springs back into nothingness. And, you know, there's lots of hands motions describing the nothingness. So let me take it to shows and play it. Which is kind of what I said originally, what he said, what multiple mastering engineers have said. Steve Hoffman has said it. Lots of people have said, these are good for a couple of plays and then they immediately start to degrade. And for $500, like I said then, and I'll say it again, this is not something you should be doing. So the lacquer controversy has kind of been sparked up. He went back and he posted another video with the Who's Tommy on his channel talking about how great it is. And it does sound good from what I hear. Mm-hmm. The thing he's not playing, though, is, you know, it's cut at 45 RPM. It's the Who's Tommy. There are 45 RPM cuts of that out there that they put out that are test pressings that have never been released. I'd be curious to how good that sounds, because you have any of the classic 45 RPMs?
No, I don't think I have any of that. I've heard so many stories about the pressing quality on the classic stuff.
The pressing quality was rough on classic.
Tough.
But some of those cuts were amazing.
Yeah.
You've heard some of them because Analog Productions has done some of them as 45 RPMs. But they were great cuts by Bernie. For instance, the Miles Davis Kinda Blue. That was Bernie's original cut at 45 RPM. The classic is amazing. So I would be curious to how the 45 RPM stacks up against that lacquer. But that's kind of what's been going back and forth this week. And he's kind of just been dropping bombs. And he posted that video of it. And I went onto his channel. I'm like, because it kind of felt like he was rehashing this again. And I'm thinking to myself, God, it's like I'm being attacked a half a decade later. And I left a comment in his video and I said, this is something, you posted this video already 4 years ago. Like, we've already been through this.
Yeah.
And his response was, I wanted to have it on this channel. I'm like, all right, but I left him a nice bit of advice. Stop attacking the people in the comments. I think I mentioned this on last week's podcast. Anyways, I let it go. And I let it go. And the next thing I know, and you saw it as well, he did a interview with Steve Westman on his podcast. And I gotta say, I lost it. Like, my mind just, like a
flashbacks.
A screw came loose. Because when the mobile Fidelity controversy, and I'll start off by telling you what he said. He goes, let me do my best from him. He goes, and Mike Esposito didn't break that MoFi story. I did, okay? And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And he's getting to, so the thing was, we met at Expona a couple of years ago, and we agreed to bury the hatchet. But he has come out in multiple streams, like, reality has been distorting. And I don't know if he's doing it on purpose. I don't know if his mind reality is changing. I don't know if he believes it, or I don't know what's going on.
He's got to get out there.
It's just, things are evolving. Yeah. And some people are like, hey, wait a minute. I was back there when this happened. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it was really good. So this is what I did. I took the transcripts of everything that happened around the MoFi news dropping, and I loaded them into AI, and I asked AI essentially what it thought. And it was kind of funny because even AI was like, he has rapidly changed his story since the news has come out. And I'm like, right? Yeah. But it's so bizarre to go back and watch how he's evolved to where in the beginning he defended religiously mobile Fidelity. Like, will this clickbait propaganda stop? He put a post on Twitter, when this comes out to be factually inaccurate, is he going to retract his claim? I don't think so. He's not a real journalist. You know, this is how it started off. He was on the Steve Westman podcast, and it's so funny to watch the evolution of Michael Fremer. And I'm to the point now, well, first of all, I no longer feel like we have a truce because he's taken every opportunity possible to just drop bombs. But the crap he has said and been found out on, but then buries under the rug, is comical. But if you go back and you watch, I remember doing it. I dropped that video. I knew what I was saying was 100% factual. I knew it. Nobody else knew it, but I had my sources. I still haven't said nobody knows my sources. I knew 100% what I was saying was factual, and I sat there and I watched for a week while I dropped the video. I dropped the video on, let's see, July 14th, 2022. But I visited MoFi on the 14th, so 6 days later. But from the time I dropped that video, the amount of stuff that came out, everybody going after me, how I was crazy, on the Steve Hoffman forum, it was kind of a surreal experience because what I knew. And everybody else had no clue what I knew, but they were like just going on hard. But I remember watching Fremer on Steve Westman on July 15th, 2022. This is before, the day after my video dropped. Here's a quote. And this is a quote that should be immortalized on his tombstone. "You can always hear when it's digital. If it's a digital source, you can hear it. It's gotten really good now, but analog tape has a quality you can hear, and digital has a quality you can hear." Really? Really? Like, how well has that quote held up over time?
Not very well.
Not very well, but I remember watching that at the time and just snickering, but I never said anything. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be above this. I'm not going to say anything. And I've been above it for 4 years. And it's getting to the point now, there's so many new people in vinyl, it's like reality of what's happened is kind of become distorted. So it's just like, that's kind of why my head kind of exploded. And it was that, and like I remember this so vividly because not only did I live it, but I had to go back and watch it over the years because I kind of like, it was almost surreal. And throughout the years, I've gone back a couple of times and I've watched it. And you've mentioned to me you've watched it too.
Yeah, it's always a good watch. Once or twice a year, go back to the Mike versus Mike debate and just go back to that and go back to your video when you talked about it initially and kind of going through the whole process, watching the mastering engineers talk to you.
In our little world, it was a
big thing.
People don't realize how monumental it is.
Yeah.
95% of the people that are on YouTube right now making videos only existed because they came on the scene in response to these MoFi videos. Everybody...
And it's generating more skepticism for any new product that comes out. And
It's lived on with us, and the ramifications have been huge. Like, some have been good. Like, I called during that original brouhaha, like, we need the sparse code on records. Like I said, it has to happen. When I went to when I went to Mobile Fidelity, I asked them about it, and they're like, we will do it. I talked to Chad from Acoustic Sounds, Analog Productions, and he said, we're going to do it. But in the original video, I'm like, we need to know, as consumers, exactly what you're selling us. If you're selling us an audiophile record cut from the master tape, put it on the record. Don't put it on the website. Don't put it on a hype sticker. That stuff gets lost. 20, 30 years from now, we need to know where that came from. And if it's on the jacket, like there has been good that's come from it because now it's standard. I just got done filming the new Arrival video. And looking at all those MoFi records, I smile a little bit every time because I know, I don't know if anybody else knows, but I know I was the guy that pushed that over the finish line. Because at the time, manufacturers were so paranoid, like, oh my God, everybody was scrambling, and transparency became such a thing that everybody adopted it, including MoFi. And MoFi does it now in a great way to where like you're knowing multiple steps: the original source, the quality of DSD, and then the chain of, sometimes it goes to DXD if they have a wow and flutter issue or there's an issue. They have to correct things. So you're getting a real detailed analysis from MoFi.
Yeah. I remember people going back to the website and refreshing once a week to get the updates on the back catalog.
Yeah, everybody was wondering, when is the back catalog coming out? You're right. When is the back catalog coming out? But a lot of good things came from it, but a lot of negative things came from it now, because now everybody is so skeptical.
They're under the microscope.
And that hasn't gone away. It's guilty till proven innocent now. To where I've seen Chad come out from Analog Productions multiple times, like befuddled, like, no, why are you, like, he kind of got confused there for a while, like, why are you, no, this is I've said it many times, this is it, but people are, you said it, but are you sure? So there's a lot of that now. And everybody is now looking online to essentially recreate that controversy. So the negative to it is there's a lot of bomb throwers now. Everybody's trying to rehash that, and that'll never be rehashed. I don't care if another label gets found out. The fact that happened to Mobile Fidelity, the original, the pioneer of audiophile records, like, that was the craziest it'll ever get, because that was they started like, we're going to cut from analog tape and we're going to do it on quality. Coming
right after the COVID boom.
The COVID boom,
where everybody was.
They invented audiophile records for all intents and purposes. They invented it. They did it for decades. The vinyl boom made everybody crazy. In 2020 during COVID, everybody's going nuts, gobbling these things up. So everybody's like hoarding these things. And we found out
secondary market for him too was going.
They were hoarding these things, in the lawsuit, the original lawsuit, somebody had, I think I read an excerpt how this was thought of as his kid's college retirement fund.
Right.
Like, so that was the mentality. And I remember thinking at the time, like, these are gold. These are analog. They're not, these master tapes aren't going to be good forever. These are going to be gold. And then we all found out that wasn't going to be the case. But watching how much things have changed at the time, how things started off in that 2-week span, it was so crazy to just, even this past week, go back and rehash it. But his comment, I guess, just broke something inside of my head, because what the hell is he talking? Like, he broke the story. What? Like, so my last damn Fremer quote, and then I'll let it go, is he did a live stream with 45 RPM audiophile on July 20th. This was in response to me dropping the video. And I remember watching this live stream on the way back from Sebastopol. I filmed it on the 19th. I dropped it on the 20th. On the way to the plane, I was watching this all the way up until we took off, till I had no more internet. I was watching this. And then it turned into, like, we needed to hire a real journalist, and this guy didn't know. I mean, he's a fanboy. We didn't find anything out. How do we know what, the one steps are? Like, how do we know if this was in it? Like, thinking to myself as I was getting ready to take off, like, what the hell are you talking about? I asked all those questions. Like, the Santana cut from DSD, or, yes. How about Miles Davis? Yes. Like, they're going on and on. Like, I don't know. It was just sour milk. But the best part of that interview was, this is the guy, keep in mind, who broke the story. His quote: I was covering for Mobile Fidelity again because I heard from someone what happened is they got the master tape of Love Over Gold. They cut lacquers from the master tape and made a DXD copy at the same time for their SACD review. They sent the tapes back, and what happened is they found that there was a problem with the recorder, with their playback deck, and it was producing a lot of wow and flutter on the lacquer and on their DXD file. So what they could have done was ask for the tape back, but they didn't. What they did was they went to the guy, and I'm not sure I'm not supposed to say who it is, but he fixed it. He fixed the wow and sent them back. All right, I'll say it. I'm tired of holding back. They sent them to Jamie Hayworth at Plangent Process. They got the file and fixed it. And so Love Over Gold was released on vinyl from the master tape, but was a digital file. And guess what? It was plangent processed. What the fuck? You knew about it. You knew about it, and you said nothing. Your words were you covered for them. You covered for Mobile Fidelity. So what part of this story did you break, Michael Fremer? Like, I want to know. Please, go ahead, Michael. Leave it in the comments below. I'm sure you will. What did you break? Seriously. And then I hear other comments. Well, Michael 45 was the first person to break it. There is a big difference between saying, you know what? How are they going to cut 40,000 Mobile Fidelity records from the master tape? How are they going to pass that over 40 times? Like, there is a big difference between like going, on a video and then making a video and saying, you know what? This is what's happening. It's DSD.
Yeah.
And I know it, and I'm taking my stuff, my recommendations off of the top 100 imprint analog records. This is what I really think is going on. And this is what I think was going on was a little CYA. Like, I was like 99% sure like this is what was going on. So, anyways, my brain broke a little bit. And I don't know. I was like, I gotta say something. I'm not gonna just spend years watching history get distorted.
Change.
You know, because these guys, I'm gonna cite all these videos that I'm pulling these quotes on my, and I make copies of them because I've always thought to myself, you know what? At some point in time, these guys are gonna probably cover for them. I don't know. They're gonna pull these videos. If that happens, I wanted to have the receipts, but like the history of what happened was not gentle on some people. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, for people who said they could hear digital versus analog, that hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't hear shit. You had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Fremer said Abraxas was the best sounding record he's ever heard. So, yeah. What do you have to say?
How do you feel now? Do you feel better?
I feel a little better that I got it off of my chest because I've been keeping my mouth shut for 4 years. I've tried to be the bigger man and take the high road.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to do it at the cost of history being rewritten because that isn't what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. That's music news. But I've got one more music story. I've got something that actually pertains to music, and that is, are you going to come to the Paul McCartney listening party?
Sure.
You're going to? It's on Friday. Can you get off of work that early?
I'll make it happen.
So the reason I ask is because I'm wondering, this is the very first time I've ever seen most listening parties are somewhat, you know, a lot of times it's music that I don't really care for, and it's like, here's a poster or, you know, and sometimes they'll auction off like autograph stuff. So sometimes if you're a fan of the band, like Bleachers, it was like an autograph print. I'm not a Bleachers fan, but if I was, like, that'd be cool to win that.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool because for every store that's doing a listening party, they're offering an exclusive silver vinyl photo print variant of the record. So you can only get it at the listening party. So maybe Paul was a pal and he autographed these. I doubt it. He
doesn't sign much anymore.
If it turns out these are autographed variants,
there may not be.
It turns out I only got one, but you better come early.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. Yeah. I like the fact labels have done so much to siphon business from record stores. They sell direct now from the artist's website. They sell direct on their website. And common thing is the Capitol, Beach Boys, DSS.
Yeah. I
have done so much cleanup on that because they originally said that was coming out at a specific date. You know, UMG, Universal. Mm-hmm. Now, Tom Beery came out and said that it would probably be later. So I had Universal telling me it was going to be this time originally, and Tom Beery saying it was going to be probably later. But I see what they're doing. A lot of vendors do it now. A lot of audiophile labels do it. They want the most amount of that pie at retail, so they keep it as an exclusive for themselves. Blue Note has been doing it with the Tone Poet series. If you subscribe to our Tone Poet show, you'll get everything a week early. You know, so like this is the way things are going. Artist exclusive, website exclusives.
But didn't the initial DSS with Dr. Dre, it was
solicited.
Yeah, I remember seeing pre-sales for it on
and then
other sites, and then it
yeah.
kept going back order.
Then it became a website exclusive for them, and then it got pulled. But in Tom's defense, he's been pushing really hard, and he was the one, I believe, who got this opened up for indie stores, which I'm thrilled about. And I'm thrilled to get it at all. So I'm not complaining. I'd rather get it late than early, but it's just there was a little confusion. Yeah. And they're opening up the back catalog now. The only thing that's sold out is the REM.
Yeah.
But on the website now, I've got everything else for pre-order, and you can pre-order all of them. And I think going forward, they're going to be available to everybody.
It just seems screwy because, like, you had the Rhino Hi-Fis did the same thing. You know, they were direct to consumer only. You were asking and saying, you know, this would be great in the store. This needs to be everywhere. It took them a little while to get on that bandwagon when stuff wasn't selling out. It seems like DSS is almost following the same kind of model.
And that's kind of where all the labels are going, which is fine. Yeah. I much rather, because there's some people that are just never going online. Not everybody is in the weeds audiophile buying stuff online. Some people are like, I want to look through records in a bin. This is my favorite record, or this is the only version that's in print, or, you know, so they see it in the bin and they just buy it. Yeah. And a lot of times, somebody buys it because it's the only copy, and they'll go in and they'll buy something like, you know, whatever. They'll buy the Devo Rhino Hi-Fi, and they'll play it just like a normal record on their modest system with other records, but they get it home and they're like, wow, this is so much better than everything else. And they come back and they're like, why does this sound so much like, what's wrong with these records? Or why? And you have to explain to them what, like, that introduces so many people to the audiophile world accidentally. But that doesn't happen if you're a hi-fi only boutique website. You know what I mean? People aren't discovering things that way. But the average person buying records discovers it accidentally. I had it so many times happen, hundreds of times, where I've lost count, to where I've turned people into audiophiles accidentally. They had no intention until, you know, hey, the only I want the Doors. Well, this is the only one I have, the 45 RPM, and they buy it, and then they're like, they get home and they're like, holy cow! But you know, first I remember explaining to them, no, 45, it's not just a 7-inch. You can, your table plays it, put it on there, set it to 45. You know, you have those conversations with people, and then their mind gets blown, and they come back. So I don't mind. I mean, it'd be nice if we can all get it in an ideal world, but if we're not going to get it for a couple of weeks, that is way better than the alternative of not getting it at all. So I definitely appreciate the fact that we're getting it now. And really, other than the vinyl file, everything is coming to us generally at some point. You know, other than like squirrely Paul McCartney. Like, Paul McCartney's going to have 500 versions of this.
I've seen.
And who knows which is going to be the rarest. But this seems like it is going to be pretty rare because it's only going to record stores who are having the listening party, and it's an allocated title to those, and it'll never get done again because it's a listening party. So how rare, we really don't know when it comes to Paul McCartney and the 57 issues he does, like he did with Paul McCartney 3. You don't really know until the dust settles what ends up being the rarest of rare.
But it's cool to have a listening party like this because, I mean, how much bigger are you going to get than getting a Beatle listening party?
It's what it is.
Yeah, maybe a different demographic than you're used to for a BTS or a Bleachers or something like that, but it's still.
I'll be curious to see what the turnout is. We're new to listening parties, but so far the Deftones, I want to say the Deftones has been our biggest listening party.
That was a really good album.
You were there for that listening party?
I wasn't there for the listening
party.
Which
ones have you gone to? Any of them?
I think that was that. What was that one? Olivia, not Rodrigo. It was around the same time as BTS. It was some girl I'd never heard of. Sounded kind of like Lana Del Rey, Billie Eilish type, and there was a decent turnout for that. I was just there randomly, like on a Friday or something, and they were having a listening party. But I was into the music. I mean, the music was good.
I wish I remembered who it was.
I can't remember.
But I remember from history, Deftones has been our biggest. We had like 25 people show up for that. And Morrissey was the lowest turnout, and we had 0 people show up for that. So Morrissey, 0 turnout.
They were assuming Morrissey was going to be there, but then he canceled before, maybe?
I think what they actually thought was that Morrissey would probably have pulled the stream before the show, and it's just, they would have been.
You got to remix it like Kanye or something like that, right?
We can't do this. We're pulling the stream. It's done. So yeah, that's kind of the big. I think for this week, that's kind of the big thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Beatles is dropping a record, and I've listened to both tracks. I really liked Paul McCartney 3. I thought that was a good record. The 2 tracks that I've listened to on this,
I try not to listen to anything. I want to have the actual full album.
I know.
Usually I try to. It's not, it used to be harder back in the day when everybody was streaming and you didn't have physical media. You're like, okay, they dropped one song, they dropped another song, and then you get the whole album whenever it comes out. But
what is Paul now? 82, 83?
I watched him on SNL. Yeah. It was,
it's hard for me to watch.
Showing his age,
it's very hard. It's so cool, and
I liked him in the skits that he did. He was in a couple, one or two skits.
If I met Paul, I'd be drooling on myself. But at this point, it's hard to watch. He did Band on the Run, and I thought to myself, man, this is tough because I've seen him 4 or 5 times in concert, and it's the last 10-ish years. He's 80s.
Has it been similar with the Stones, or is it that mainly the
Mick
seating?
Jagger lives in alternate universe.
Okay.
To where I saw him
first.
Beatles,
Stones, the Stones
well,
have the
I saw
advantage
Mick Jagger
for
first in 1999, and I remember going to that show, and it's like, wow, Mick Jagger's running up and down the stage, and he puts his mic in his belt, and he's doing, he's doing laps, and
he's still having kids too.
1999, he was what, in his 50s? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I saw him a couple of years ago, and it's like he's running around, and he's doing laps, and he's like doing, he's doing cartwheels. It's unbelievable. The man has not aged.
Yeah.
Ronnie Wood has aged. Keith Richards has aged. Charlie Watts.
We're going to have a Beatles and Stones album come out the same year. Is this a trend? I don't remember when the last...
Beatle and Stones.
Beatle, yeah.
But we're getting a Stones record.
Yeah.
The last Stones record,
I did like that a lot.
I loved.
Yeah.
The couple of tracks on this I haven't felt were as strong, but I'm thinking to myself, it's still good.
Yeah.
Where when I listened to the Paul, I thought to myself, this isn't great. He kind of, what it reminds me of? The American recording sessions with Johnny Cash. Did you listen to those?
Back in the day, yeah.
Hurt. He did Personal Jesus.
Yeah.
They're fantastic because a broken down Johnny Cash sounds amazing. And I think short of this,
broken down Paul McCartney
doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
A broken down Johnny Cash, his voice is amazing. The way it sounded was amazing. The way he sung Hurt was unbelievable. I saw 9 Inch Nails recently, and they ended with Hurt. And I'm like, I don't even want to hear. I don't even need to hear Trent Reznor. I heard Johnny Cash do this. I don't need to hear. I didn't actually listen. But you know what I mean? On vinyl, I heard him do it. But it's all downhill from there.
Right.
How he did that, kind of like how Whitney did I Will Always Love You. Like, Dolly wrote it, but it's never going to be the same as that version.
Right.
That's the pinnacle. I think Dolly would probably even agree. But I don't know. Maybe
I think
the
he's
album,
slimming the tours down a little bit too. He's not doing as much touring as he was in past years.
So far,
kind of sporadic.
I do kind of like where he took this album. It's not the poppy Egypt Station. Do a record with current hip hop stars. And
what was it? Pho You?
Pho You. It's the equivalent of when Elvis did Old MacDonald. That's what it is. Old MacDonald, Elvis on the back of a pickup truck singing Old MacDonald is the equivalent of Paul McCartney doing Pho You. It's terrible.
Or Fonzie jumping the shark with the motorcycle.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, that was the low point, was Pho You. But, I think his last good poppy album was New. And I think his last great album was Paul McCartney 3. I really did like it. It was a good record. All Paul McCartney 1, 2, and 3 were really good records. So I'll be curious to see how the rest of this stacks up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How do his albums move from release? I mean,
they do well. Because the thing is,
are you getting a bunch of variants for it, or is it
I'm getting
indie and black and
the release party?
Okay.
I'm getting the 3.
So you may not have an Adele situation of
I didn't order
stacks of records.
I
didn't
order 10 zillion records.
Yeah, Billie Eilish, Sharknado.
I don't think anybody sells the records like Adele.
Yeah.
That was, unfortunately.
Well, maybe, I'm thinking maybe like Target or big box stores where they had overflow of them and they ended up in thrift stores.
Well, because Adele is a great artist, but nobody's collected like the Beatles. That is hands down the most collected group of all time. There's some bands that are heavily collected, but nothing like the Beatles. I mean,
Yeah.
Paul McCartney toilet paper, Beatles wallpaper, John Lennon's backwash. It doesn't matter what it is. It's collected. Every single thing that has ever been done. Every t-shirt, every tchotchke, gift wrapping, there's a market for it. And no band is, I mean, Taylor Swift is getting there. But it's going to take a lot of years because they just don't have, you know, she's got a lot of records and variants, but, you know, we don't have the full-blown merch of every kind. And
Yeah, I think
in
she's
the 60s,
narrowed it down to her audience pretty well for what.
Where the Beatles had everything imaginable.
Yeah.
Playing cards and shampoo. And then they have 4 solo careers, 4 very successful solo careers. So then it was every kind of internet, you know, and it was in the heyday of vinyl where there was 50 plants making these records. And there's just so much variance in so many countries and so many things you can collect. Vinyl's not made that way anymore. You know, 50 countries don't make a new record. It's consolidated to a couple of plants, making mostly worldwide releases. So I don't know if anything will ever be collected like the Beatles were collected. I don't think that is possible. So yes, it sells really well because there are so many people that have to have every variant.
Yeah.
So
do you see younger demographics that are gobbling all the variants up, or is it
not
kind
Paul
of
McCartney?
Yeah.
No, I mean of Taylor Swift and of Lana Del Rey and of, you know, but not Paul.
Yeah.
The people that are collecting are like, I've collected the Beatles my whole entire life. I already have everything. I'm still alive, so I might as well continue the collection by getting all the variants of this record. So no, that's kind of the deal with that. I mean, it's so many of those copies are, it's good business on Paul's part.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the RSD Butcher to come out. That would be a really cool event to have them redo the Butcher album.
Where is this? I've been saying this for years. Why aren't we getting that? You know, limited to like 250,000 because obviously I think it'd be one of the best-selling records of all time.
Yeah.
If you put a recreation of the Butcher. They did it as a CD, which means if they'll do it as a CD, why won't they do it as a vinyl record? You know, they did those capital CDs, and it even came with like a sticker. So it came with the replica LP CDs with the Butcher on it, but it came with the trunk cover you could stick on.
Okay.
Why the hell they haven't done that as a record store day release or something boggles my mind.
It'd be good times.
Because they know, like, they clearly are into making money, hence the reason we have 47 variants of every Paul McCartney record the last 2 cycles.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The talk music section. Did you see what I put down there? Drama at the shop.
Yeah.
Sandwich shop.
Sandwich shop.
So, people always ask me about interesting stories that happen. And I don't want to mention the name of the sandwich shop, but there's a sandwich shop that's been in Phoenix since the 40s. And I used to go into this sandwich shop. First place when I lived right next to it, I went in there. It was a father and son that ran this place for decades. And this was like around 2001 when I moved to the Valley. And then a couple of years after, this is the kind of place, it was like the Cheers of sandwich shops.
Okay.
I walk in there, hey, Mike, how you doing? How's, you know, this? How's your wife? You know, like they knew who you were.
Yeah.
But it was literally the Cheers equivalent.
Yeah.
It was the grandfather, the son, and the son's daughter at maybe 13 years old. Then the grandfather eventually passed away. Then the son ran it with his daughter. I watched his daughter grow up from like 13, 14, all the way up to she's 30-something, has kids. Anyways, they decided to sell the place. A new place takes over. Well, they took over, but I don't know if any training really took place. It's not the same place. And it's like I'm so sentimentally attached to this place.
Did they keep the name?
They kept the name.
Everything inside.
They changed the inside. Okay. What was cool about the inside was you went into this place and it was a living. It was like, you ever been to the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone?
No.
You got to go there.
Time capsule.
Yeah, they haven't changed it since like 80 years.
Yeah.
So like all the crap is exactly where they left it. Well, that was this sandwich shop. You went in there and you knew it because they had photos from the 60s in there. And if you look at the photos from the 60s, granted they're like all old now, but in there they're like in their 30s.
Right.
But like the sign in the photo, still there. The paneling on the wall, still there. The showcases are the same. like the handwritten signs from the 60s were still on the wall. Like they hadn't changed anything about this place. So anyways, this new place comes in and they gutted it, which I understand. Like, it was not changed for decades.
Yeah.
Decades and decades and decades.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was up to code, but,
yeah.
but the sandwiches were not the same. They and I tried so many times. I went in there multiple times and I just...
With all the times you went there, they didn't give you a training on how they make the sandwich?
I knew
so
how
you
they
could
made
go
the
back
sandwich.
there and train them yourself?
I knew how they made the sandwich. The last time was I ordered just a normal cold cut chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Chicken, mayo, lettuce, tomato. And they put it in the microwave. Like a cold sandwich.
Okay.
Just in the microwave after the fact. Everything was on it, the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
And I took 2 bites of it and I threw it away and I never went back. Anyways, there was a guy in the store and he had this establishment's t-shirt on. And I'm like, oh, and I'm not going to tell you guys. Like, oh, such and such. I love that place. I can't believe they fucked it up. And his face just went,
I'm the new owner.
He goes, I'm the new manager. And this is a regular customer. He's been coming in there for like a year and a half. And he left.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay. He goes outside and he's like pacing around his car.
How old are we talking here?
He's like in his 30s.
Okay.
He comes back in and he's like, I can't believe you would say that. You're giving, he's only worked there a month, he said. Thinking to myself, well, what the hell are you, you don't own the place.
Yeah.
I said, well, look, let me tell you what's going on. He's like, I'm sorry, we lit you down one time. I'm like, well, you didn't let me down one time. At this point, it was like, I already dug the hole. If I knew the guy worked there, I wouldn't have said anything. But I already dug the hole. People are all watching. They're getting a show. I already dug the hole. And I'm like, well, maybe I can get to him and say, hey, maybe I can get my sandwich shop back. I already lost this guy as a customer, but maybe I can get my sandwich shop back. And he came in and I'm like, look, this is what happened multiple times. Like, just get the old owner. You gotta get a little training on how it used to be done. It can't be that hard for him to come in, maybe pay him a little extra or whatever, get him to teach you guy. We're making sandwiches here.
This sounds like a Seinfeld episode.
It was a Seinfeld. We're making sandwiches here. This isn't overly complicated. You don't take a cold sandwich and throw it in the microwave. What are you thinking? Even you toast something, but you don't microwave it.
Yeah.
It's like they make all boar's head sandwiches.
Right,
There's nothing fancy. It's just good ingredients.
Subway's not microwaving.
Yeah, they're just making good sandwiches. And he's just like, this is not a safe space anymore. I'm never coming here again. I can't believe you would do this. And I'm like, look, don't take it personally. He ends up leaving, telling me he's never going to come back again. Well, he calls up Vivian after the fact, and he's crying to her on the phone.
Oh,
he felt so attacked. And I'm thinking to myself, I feel bad at this point.
Yeah.
At first I was kind of giving it to him a little bit. Telling him, look, I know you're the man. I wasn't attacking him. I was just telling him, look, the place sucks now. So this all happened. This is why it's in talk music, because it's happened in the record store. People always want to hear about the crazy stuff that happens.
What was the time span between your last sandwich there and when you saw him? Was it a very short amount?
A couple of months.
Oh, okay.
So he hadn't even
wasn't super
worked there.
fresh with you.
No. But it was
chuffed about it.
I was chuffed about it because it's right by my house. I drive by it almost every day, and I look over and I shed a little tear. I'm like the native on the side of the road with the trash being thrown. I shed a little tear.
But he shed more. So
he shed more.
Yeah.
But I told him, I'm like, it's a learning. We can make this right. We can bring back the glory sandwich days. But he was having none of it. So when Vivian told me he was on the phone crying, I felt bad. I'm like, because that's not my intent here. I was just making it. I figured this guy went there.
Did he want to talk to you, or was
he did not want to talk to me. But my original thought when I saw him was, this is a former guy who probably realizes how this place has gone downhill, and we could commiserate together. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it was the manager.
Yeah.
Anyways, I called him. He didn't answer. I sent him an email, and I'm like, look, I apologize. This got way out of hand. If I knew you were the manager, I would have just kept my mouth shut. But, I'm not holding you responsible. Mm-hmm. It's been months since that kind of thing. It had nothing to do with him. But anyways, it was.
So you lost a customer.
I lost a customer
due to sandwiches.
And I came in every week, spent $100. It's a good customer.
Yeah.
Feel bad. But
So now you can't show your face in the sandwich shop ever again.
But I wasn't going to go anyways because the sandwiches weren't any good anymore. Now, maybe they fixed it, but when I last went...
Maybe...
The first time I went, it was like opening weekend. So I'm like, you know what? Bad. Let me wait a couple, 3 weeks.
I don't want to go back to Fremer, but is this a situation where Chad can come in and you guys can get on a live stream together and moderate the sandwich shop?
I don't think anybody cares. I think this is... I think most people that are listening are like, what? Like we're in Phoenix. There's tons of places to get sandwiches, but it's so...
The sentimental
It was sentimental, man. I had hair when I started going to this place. Like, I have such fond memories of this place, and then it just gets taken from you. And, you know, if you're older, you remember, like, something, and then it goes away. Like the Monte Cristo at Bennigan's. It's probably terrible, but part of me, like, wants it. Or Subway, when they used to cut the sandwich on the top, and their sandwiches actually tasted good. Like, that was a long time ago. Or Quiznos. I loved Quiznos. They're gone. Like, so... But this was even more so because they knew me, I knew them.
It was a small shop,
Yeah, it was a small little family shop, and it was kind of the sandwich shop equivalent of the in-groove. So, I don't know. If this was more like the Fremer situation, though, I would just...
Well, now you have to send the employees to go test it maybe every so often. Like, go get a
No, because then if it's good, I'm really screwed. Because I can't go back.
You can't go back.
But if I was Fremer in this, I would have never emailed the guy, and I just would have continued to dig the hole for 5 more years. So
Yelp comments, maybe.
It's not quite... I don't think I got a bad Yelp review out of this. Which is fair, because I didn't leave him a bad Yelp review. And it wasn't even him.
Yeah.
Like,
but he's 30. He's not a 50 or 60-year-old guy where he could go out and start picketing in front of the shop and boycotting the shop or something like that.
I mean, I guess he could, but it would be really bizarre. You're right, though. This would have 100% been a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, it totally
down.
Sounds like it. I'm always curious as to what's going on in the shop. It's either somebody in a wheelchair running into a end case or shoplifting Gaga records.
The worst part about that was
sandwiches.
And this was pre-YouTube. A guy came into the store with an electric scooter and just barreled right into a showcase. The glass blew up. The records were all over the floor. But the worst part wasn't that happened. That was terrible. What was the part was he got out of the scooter and just started picking the scooter up and moving it off the showcase. He wasn't even handicapped. He was just using it as a transportation device. And rather than parking it in front of the store, he just came in and just... And I have wide aisles. Like, you could comfortably get a motorized vehicle through these aisles. Yeah. And he just blasted into the showcase. But yeah, that would have made a good YouTube short back in the day.
Yeah,
but,
reality show content, whatever.
Yeah, that clip is long gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't get a lot of questions. We need better questions, guys. Give us better questions. I'm really scrounging hard to get these questions. Do better. You know what I'm saying? Give me some questions.
Where do they put the questions?
Just you keep the questions
in the comments
of YouTube or on Spotify. I notice questions as well. YouTube is the best, but we are on all the podcast sites. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
We're like big time.
Yeah.
I think I looked at the stats. We got like almost 3-digit views on Spotify. It's huge. Watch out, Joe Rogan. Anyways, leave some questions. We need questions. Help us out. This next question, first question, is from A. Deanne Bloom. What is the farthest distance you two have traveled just to see a concert? What's the farthest?
California. I mean, we're fortunate that we're in a big city, so I haven't had to travel very far for a concert. There's been times when I wanted to go to one of the bigger shows, like see Paul McCartney at MSG or something like that. And there's definitely venues that I still have on a bucket list. Red Rocks, The Gorge, MSG, maybe a couple other ones. But, I mean, California's probably been the furthest.
Have you gone multiple shows in California?
Yeah, I went and saw Radiohead in California, and I also saw Jack White at the Shrine. That was in my pre-marriage and kid years where I flew to LAX, went to the show, then slept at LAX for a early flight the next day. That was a little rough, but
I've seen...
And it's different when you, again, trying to go spontaneously by yourself. You don't have a bunch of people to go with or something like that. I mean, yeah, the logistics can kind of get tricky in some of these
Until recently, California was the same for me, but I did go to San Jose and saw the Rolling Stones in 2013. John Fogerty came on stage. I wanted to go because that was that mini tour that Mick Taylor was doing guest spots, and they were playing Can't You Hear Me Knockin', my favorite song by the Stones. Didn't get to hear it, but they were playing that on that tour. I saw them in San Jose, and I saw the Rolling Stones in Dodger Stadium. So it was really the Rolling Stones. And then I saw a couple of jazz shows in California. Anthony Wilson and the Kirsten Atkins release for Coherent. I did that with Kevin Gray. But the last out of town...
Didn't you go to a jazz show in New York?
Well, I didn't go... Yeah, I didn't really go to New York for that show.
It wasn't planned. It was just...
But I did go to see David Byrne on Broadway. So that is, for me, the farthest I've went to see a concert.
Okay.
I'm to the point now where I can get some time off, and if a good show, like the best place to see, like if you think about all the like really legendary shows that have gone down, some Madison Square Garden, but a lot of them have happened in London. And I've had so much fun in London. Like if some big event, like the Zeppelin doing the O2 shows, or the concert for George Harrison when he passed away, or Cream reuniting at Royal Albert Hall. Like so many great shows have taken place there, and since I've freaking had so much fun in that city, like if I see something, like I'm there. Like New Order, for instance, I always wanted to see New Order. They typically only do festivals in the U.S., but they do a lot of shows over in the U.K. Like I'll be on a plane. Like if they do a London show, especially if it's like a cool theater, like Royal Albert Hall, or a cool venue, which so many of their venues are historic. Like I'm there. It's going to happen. Next question from Renemies78. Do you guys collect any other physical media like 8-tracks or cassettes?
I have a couple cassettes for sentimental value because I grew up in the CD cassette era, so I don't even have a tape deck to play them on. I just have them, remembering the very first cassette I bought from Sam Goody at the mall back in the day. Mortal Kombat soundtrack, the soundtrack to Dangerous Minds with Coolio on it. Like stuff like that I keep for sentimental value, but I don't, between trying to have a full 2-channel vinyl setup, a tape deck, an 8-track player, like I don't
only have these, so do you have a CD player?
I don't have a CD, I don't have any, well, I have some CDs.
Do you have a way to stream?
No, I haven't gone down the streaming route yet. I'm just strictly, vinyl and...
It's funny, I have CDs, you can see them around us. I collect CDs. I don't know why, because I don't listen to them. And I don't collect any CDs. I collect super audio CDs or like DVD audios. And I've got, I don't know, maybe 500, 600 of them, 1,000. I don't listen to them. I do collect reel-to-reel. I'm a big reel-to-reel fan. I've got a lot of great reel-to-reels. I've got a lot more than this. Oh, yeah, look at that. Electric Ladyland. I've got a lot of great reel-to-reels. A lot of them sound like crap. A lot of them are quite good. But for me, I'm mostly vinyl and reel-to-reel. Although, like I said, I do CDs, but I have a CD player. I don't think I put a CD in that CD player in the last year. I don't own a streamer. I don't collect cassettes. I don't collect 8-tracks. 3 formats is enough, I think. And this is the most obnoxiously expensive format that I've kind of quit because
this would be difficult for me for kids, having little kids and trying to do spool up a reel. It would be, I would lose my mind.
I mean, I'm just guessing like off the top of my head. Like some of these are just wild. Like this Electric Ladyland, this is probably $300 to $500. RAM. This is hundreds of dollars. All of these good titles just go for such astronomical money. The Beatles over here, like, this goes for such crazy money, and it doesn't sound good. Like, there's no... I mean, not compared to the better quality stuff that was on Parlophone. But some of the reel-to-reels are amazing, but I love spitting up a reel-to-reel. Such a huge fan.
I'll probably get to that point
I love watching just the reel spin. Although this is a prop... I've had a lot of people say, you know what, I've been seeing the same reels on there for years. Like, they don't have the position hasn't even moved. Here, I'll fix it.
None of the reels have moved, none of the alcohol has gone down.
Well, no, this Highland Park has. I have
sipped on that.
I thought about doing it a little bit tonight. I mean, it'd be nice to do a little podcast, sip on a little scotch.
Yeah.
But then I figured, you know what? Not as I'm ranting. That could go badly.
Maybe afterwards,
After the ranting. Or maybe like if we're doing a stream that doesn't involve ranting.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Yeah.
All right, so that is episode number 2. I don't know if these are going to be weekly. They're going to be kind of between the week and 2 week is kind of how we're planning it, as there's things to talk about. To be honest, I don't think there would have been enough to talk about had Fremer not vomited all over the YouTube forum, YouTube videos. So you're keeping that smile pretty tight, aren't you?
Have him keep it going so that there's more streams that are...
We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll get some more content.
When the Tracking Angle releases the coffee table book of all the comments that he's put on YouTube, then we can maybe talk about that.
Bill Maher did that. Bill Maher did like a monologue book. We can get a Tracking Angle Michael Fremer book of all the bombs.
I mean, if somebody wanted to troll him hard, they'd put it on a T-shirt and wear it to Exponent or something like that, and just walk around.
That's a good idea. Kind of the Norman Maslow equivalent of, what he did,
right?
With his "Shut That Up, Mazzy" shirt. But it's just, I don't know, guys. I'm not getting back into it. Once was enough.
Yeah.
If I want to hear it again, I'll rewind. But yeah, that
is the coffin. This is the final nail.
It's not. But now we're in a different world. We're in a world now to where I am not going to just let it go. I'm not being the bigger man anymore. I'm tired of that shit. I'm just going to let it rip.
Yeah.
Like, you come after me, I'm going to lay down the facts. And I have it all here. Like, my memory's pretty good. And I can go back to all these videos. They're still up. And if they're not up, I download them. Like, I know how shit went down.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of it. I remember hundreds of pages of Hoffman comments talking about how I was a lunatic. I remember I was there. I'm not going to let anybody rewrite history on this. This is not happening. Not while I'm alive, anyways. When I'm dead, they can say whatever they want.
But the videos will live on.
But the videos will live on. Although maybe not. I had a bunch of videos and photographs on MySpace, and they all got deleted. Yeah. So
I don't. Yeah.
Maybe all this information will be just a puff.
Just absorbed into AI, probably.
Maybe AI will be able to comment on this in the future. All right, guys. That's episode 2. Until next time.